Hey guys, I'm Karan Bilani from Mobi Scrub, and today I'm going to review the Asus Zenfone Live. Now, why it's called Live is something I'll be covering a little later in the video ahead. But what's really good, and the first thing that you're going to notice about the device, is the size. It's really manageable. Reminds me of the earlier iPhone 4s and the 4S that came out. At the back, you've got this aluminum case. It's completely sealed unit, so the back panel is not removable. The battery is not removable. Yeah, but again, the overall feel, it's quite nice for a device that's entry level at 10,000 rupees. It weighs really light, and it's so manageable using just one hand. Well, of course, it's a 5-inch display, so it's extremely manageable. Right now, at the bottom, you've got USB 2.0 data syncing and charging port, a small microphone hole that you can see right there. And at the top, you've got your 3.5mm headphone jack and again a microphone. On the right edge, you've got your power and lock key along with the volume rockers, and they have a slight bit of filing in it that adds a little bit of grip to it. And on the left edge, you've got pretty much nothing but the SIM card slots. It's a dual SIM device, so you can pretty much throw in 2 nano SIM cards over there and use it as a dual SIM phone. Now, what I really like about the front is the 2.5D glass on top. You'll probably see this in mid-range smartphones and flagship devices, not in the entry-level smartphones, but again, I think this adds to the overall sophistication in the design. At the back, you've got a 13 megapixel camera with f-stop of 2.0, and you've got autofocus as well as a flash. And in the front, you've got a 5 megapixel camera with a f-stop of 2.2, again autofocus, and with LED flash. Below in the screen, you've got capacitive touch keys. So you've got your return, homes, and recent apps button. And again, these are not physical buttons, so no physical buttons there. Let's talk about the display real quick. It's a 5-inch display with a resolution of, I think, 720 pixels by 1280 pixels. So this is not a full HD screen. This is an HD screen. And that's all right, given it's an entry-level smartphone. You still get an HD display. And thanks to the size of the phone, the power or lock key is really at a convenient position right on your index finger. Now, every time you switch on the device, that you power it on, you're gonna get a different home screen wallpaper. So the home screen wallpaper changes every time you switch it on, and you've got 3 shortcuts placed on the home screen, on the lock screen itself. And you can, of course, swipe these shortcuts right off the screen to launch that particular app. And quite obviously, these apps are customizable. So you can go into your lock screen settings and you can change these 3 apps to more frequently used apps. Now, another thing is launching quick apps or actions from the home screen, from the lock screen. I can just draw gestures, for example, S on my off screen, and it launches selfie mode. Or I could just draw V to open the phone dialer. Right? Or I could just draw W to open weather. Again, all of these are some things that you can go and configure in the settings, so it's really cool. Now, the phone does come with a couple of apps loaded. It's running Android 6.0 Marshmallow. You've got Zen UI 3.5. So you've got a couple of apps that are preloaded into the phone. For example, Beauty Live. You've got Mobile Manager. You've got a bunch of themes that you can buy and apply. So some of the themes are obviously free. There are quite a few Asus goodies that do come. For example, Do It Later, which is a great app, by the way. I'll talk more about it in the video ahead. You've got your FM radio, sound recorder, communities for Zen customers where they can talk to each other and solve problems, and of course, Memo, photo collage, service center, stuff like that. You've got a couple of social apps installed already, and of course, you're going to have to update them when you get the phone. From a speed perspective, now it is running off a 1.3 gigahertz quad-core processor with 2 GB of RAM. It's an entry-level smartphone, and I think for that, it's just about okay. There are some devices in the same league that do offer more RAM or better processor, but overall, I think the performance of the device is quite nice, despite the RAM and the processor that's built into the device. The notification panel, as you can see, is a little colorful. It's still minimalistic. It's not jarringly bad. I like the colors here. They're soft. The ones in the green are sort of different from the setting toggles that are in the blue. In addition to that, the Zen UI also lets you search your entire phone by just a swipe down. So, you sort of search everything by just entering keywords. It'll search your documents, your gallery, anything that you've downloaded. pretty much everything that's on your phone. Something like Samsung had S Finder on its phones, so it's pretty much a universal search on your smartphone. Now, what I really like is that every time I activate the lock screen, I'm introduced to a new wallpaper, and all of these wallpapers are quite nice, by the way. So there you go. Every time I'm switching it off and turning it on, it just treats me with this really nice wallpaper. Now, why the phone is called Zenfone Live is because it has this feature called Beauty Live. Now, what it really does is opens your camera directly into selfie mode, and you can start streaming to your friends, real time on your favorite apps. And given today's trends, people do go live quite often, whether it's Facebook Live, whether it's Insta Live. Insta Live is huge. So definitely you could be doing that. And even YouTube Live, you could share the link of your YouTube streaming link to your friends and they can come and watch you live. Now, there is a built-in mobile manager. For example, it tells you where your data is being consumed, where your power or your battery is being drained. It has a RAM optimizer, which is basically boost. Manage your notifications, look at where your memory is being utilized, your cache memory, all the Facebook and Instagram photos that you're watching, all of that is being cluttered onto your, hard disk inside your phone. So you might want to free all of that up, and especially given that, this device is a 16 GB internal memory. So you might want to take good control of that. So yeah, the mobile manager sort of does that really well and really optimizes your phone for best performance. Now let's talk about the camera. You've got a 13 megapixel camera, and of course, it's an entry-level smartphone. It's not one of those flagship devices, so it's not the best camera out there, but then it still does a pretty decent job of capturing images. You've got tap to focus. You can zoom in, zoom out. The shutter key is quite responsive. I mean, once the focus is set, I think it takes images fairly fast. And as you can see, I'm just tapping onto the shutter key, and it takes a picture in a jiffy. You've also got your HDR mode into this, so you've got high dynamic range, basically trying to balance out the brightly lit areas and the dimly lit areas and try to maintain a balance over there. In addition to that, you've got a couple of extra modes, for example, low light, children beautification, super resolution, and then you've got QR code scanner built right into the camera, so you don't have to install an additional app if ever you were to scan a QR code. And of course, you've got night mode as well. You've got a couple of settings that you can get a hold on to. So for example, you've got your white balance, ISO exposure. You've got your camera resolution set at 10 megapixel by default. You could actually go ahead and change that to 13, so that you can make the most of your camera. In addition to that, you can of course set your timer. You can change the focus mode. You've got a couple of video setting options as well. Again, most of camera settings are applicable here. You can shoot full HD videos with this camera, which is great, guys. But of course, you can tone it down just in case you wanted, videos of lower resolution because they're low in weight. And you've got smart brightness on right now, which is probably why in the background you'll see the colors are constantly changing. But you can turn that off so that there's no problem going ahead. And of course, then you've got, standard settings like where it should store, your location tags, and so on. And for an entry-level smartphone, I think the Zenfone Live has quite a few customization options, right from the lock screen to your home screen. You can pretty much install so many themes onto your phone that your phone can look different and fresh every single day. So you've got a bunch of these themes in the theme store. Some of them are free and some of them are paid, but again, I think they just look really nice. For example, this one, it's really contemporary. I love the colors here, and the theme overall seems really nice. Now, from a performance perspective, for an entry-level smartphone, I think this device is doing pretty good. It's just $10,000, but you've got a quad-core processor, you've got 2 GB RAM, and a game like this, which is Chameleon Run, is performing fairly smooth, which is great. And just to touch upon the app that I was talking about, Do It Later, it actually ties very strongly with some of Asus native apps like messaging, email, contacts, and phone dialer, which is your phone calls basically. So let's say you spoke to someone and then you want to add a reminder of calling that person again. It ties in with the phone dialer app. For example, the same goes on SMS as well, or Internet Explorer that you have built into it. So, you can basically tie in some of the tasks that you do regularly and attach a reminder to it from those apps itself. You don't have to go into, do it later app that's in the Asus, folder. And of course, you can set up your reminders directly from within the app as well. So overall, I think for an entry-level smartphone, the Zenfone Live is a pretty good device. It's a little low on RAM, but I think it still works. As you can see that the performance is not really sluggish or delayed or any sort of lag that I noticed. So let me know if you have any questions, guys. Leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.